Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Portrait. I'm your host, Robert. The 2017 WWE Extreme Rules. WWE Extreme Rules Network Special. Getting up there last night. I'm not doing this immediately following the show. I'm doing it a little bit later, so the next morning. So it's kind of... my mindset's a little different than it was immediately following the show, but I made notes, so hopefully I can read my own handwriting and I can go over this show and hopefully have a good review. Start off with the pre-show. We had Kalisto versus Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews, one of the most talented wrestlers on the roster. I believe that. A lot of people know that. He's just a generic wrestler, and they need to create a character with him more. Obviously, putting him with Titus and the Titus brand isn't, I don't think, really working. Titus tries to get involved and then end up costing him matches throughout over the last few weeks. Him and Kalisto had a match on Raw, and that happened. It happened again here. Titus comes on the apron. Kalisto was on the other side of the ring. Apollo goes toward Titus. Titus distracting Apollo, and then Kalisto hitting Selena del Sol on Apollo, and then getting the victory there that way. I mean, it was a good match. I gave it 2 3/4. Just a typical pre-show, just generic crap your WWE doing. What you almost need to do with Apollo Crews is turn him heel. Seems like heels get over better, and then once you get over as a heel, people will start, oh, this guy's heel. Oh, now he's face. I like it. Typically, it's like a Punk thing. I mean, when Punk came in, he did the same. They did the same thing with him when he first won the Money in the Bank. He wasn't over his face. He lost the title. Re-won the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 25, and then did a gradual heel turn. Problem with Raw right now, one of the issues, is you have this clusterfuck going for the Universal title #1 contender, but your Universal Champion's not there. And you've had this just regurgitated feud for your IC title, so guys like Apollo Crews can get lost in the shuffle. Just a nice black man gets lost in the shuffle. Turn him heel, make him just fucking badass heel, make him wear suits, just like freaking, it's like I don't like gangster, but kind of like that kind of Godfather type figure. Build him up and then turn him back face, and I think you'd have something. First match on the card, we had the Intercontinental title on the line. If Ambrose gets DQ'd, he loses the title, which is one of the dumbest stipulations in WWE history. Like I said when the show started to the guys and the boys in the Pulse basement, Pulse boys, why didn't Maurice just slap Miz and end the match immediately? And J-Man was like, dude, you're right. What the fuck? So you have this match go on where you basically Miz is setting Ambrose up to get DQ'd. Several wannabe chair shots. It's like, okay, I guess, Miz has a chair, goes to hit Ambrose with it, and then drops it and then falls back down. Ambrose picks it up. So, to the referee had his back to this, so it looked like, it's like, Ambrose like, dude, I didn't hit him. So, he didn't DQ that. Finally, Maurice does that. She stands on the apron, slaps Miz, and points at Ambrose like, he told me to do it, I'm doing it for him. And the referee was like, looks at Miz, looks at Miz, looks at Ambrose, looks at Maurice, like, what the fuck's going on here? The referee's like, no, you did it on purpose, get the fuck out of here, and kicks Maurice out. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. And then freaking Miz did hit a DDT on the apron. That was legit. It looks like it fucking hurts. So I was like, okay. Miz ended up pushing Ambrose into the referee as Maurice is leaving. So it looked like Ambrose pushed the referee. He didn't DQ him for that, thankfully. Thankfully, the ref kind of took the gimmick, went, okay, let's put the gimmick aside. Let's have it there, but let's not use it. And then Miz has skull-crushing finale and gets the 1-2-3 on Ambrose. I was slightly less than accurate on my preview of this match. I thought Ambrose would have retained. Miz wins. Miz seven-time Intercontinental Champion. Only 2 behind the record reign of Chris Jericho. Next, we had the mixed tag match with Rich Swann teaming up with Sasha Banks, the boss, versus Noam Dar and Alicia Fox. When Rich Swann come out, nice big pop. Hometown pop, mind you. His hometown of Baltimore, where the show was being held. Oh, sorry. The Ambrose Miz match, 20 minutes long, and I gave it 3 1/4 star. Thought it was a really good SC title match. So back to Rich Swann's hometown debut with Sasha Banks versus Noam Dar and Alicia Fox. Teamwork makes dream work. Sasha just, I guess she lost her love in WWE, or her, Vince is soured on her, I guess. I don't know for sure. To go from a 3-time women's champion feuding with Charlotte to teaming with Rich Swann in a mixed tag match on 205 Live. I mean, Extreme Rules here. Couple spots that were unique, I guess. Sasha did a top rope dive onto Noam Dar. She's going to do an Alicia Fox, and Dar pulls Alicia out of the way. She does it to him, which was it's kind of a next generation of women's wrestling, seeing the high flying stuff like that. Her doing that dive off the top rope. Swann does a Phoenix splash on the Noam Dar, gets the 1-2-3. 6 minutes. 2 3/4 star I gave it. I mean, it's like, oh, really? And Swann and Sasha getting victory. Next, we just had randomness of Elijah Sampson in the ring singing. Walk with Elijah? I mean, it's like, okay, just fucking random. No one came out and nothing came upon it. It's like, why not have somebody come out and stop him, or just cut to a promo package for the women's title and a kendo on a stick pull match, kendo on a pole match, excuse me. Why not? I mean, this is on the table of 3 on the WWE Network. You have Jim Cornette, Michael P.S. Hayes, and oh my God, who's the other guy? Anyway, you have the table of 3 there with Cornette and stuff, and Bischoff. And they're talking about, I haven't watched it yet, I just heard about it. And they're talking about different things, and they all have one thing in common: they hate Vince Russo. But yet the writers do a Vince Russo match. I mean, Vince Russo would do a midget masturbate in a trash can on a pole match if he could. Put on the fucking pole! That was a great match ever! So whatever, So we had the women's title with a kendo stick on a pole match. We had Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. Everybody going for the 2 ladies going for the pole, going for the freaking kendo stick. Bayley on the top rope. Alexa comes up there. They struggle. The kendo stick falls to the mat. Bayley gets it first. She hits Alexa Bliss with it. Little Alexa gets it and just goes after fucking Bayley with it. The nice Bayley, can't hit people with a kendo stick, but Alexa Bliss is heel and she can. 5 minutes. And Alexa Bliss retains her Raw Women's title in a 2 1/4 star match. Like I said in my preview, based on the history of the women's title, Alexa she retained it at Extreme Rules. I bet you she loses it on a Raw to Bayley. Just something WWE likes to do. It's just fucking retarded. Bayley would come out saying, if it wasn't for the kendo stick, I would have won. So I want a rematch. And then Kurt Angle will issue the rematch on Raw, and Bayley will win. Next, we had the Raw Tag Titles on the line. We had the tag titles on the line in a cage match. We had Cesaro and Sheamus, former champions versus the new champion, the Hardy Boys. No, which is a weird cage match, which is the way it should be, I think, but it's not normal rules. No pinfalls, no submissions. The only way you win this match, both members of a team has to exit the cage, and both feet of both members have to touch the floor. Okay, I can live with that. I mean, that's typically a little different than what they've done in the past, but okay. Typical cage type spots. You had Matt Hardy do an elbow drop off the top rope. That actually missed Cesaro. You had Jeff Hardy and Cesaro on one side, the top of the cage, and Jeff ends up falling to the outside. So Jeff is on the outside, so Matt's on the inside, so it's 2-on-1. Sheamus hit white noise on Matt Hardy off the top rope. And then you had kind of a few minutes of a 2-on-1 beatdown, and then you had Jeff come back in. As he climbs the cage, we all were like, duh, Jeff Hardy cage, he's doing something off top. And when they brought the cage down initially, you look at it, and where the wires were hooked, there's like little platforms each corner. We're like, oh fuck, those are Jeff Hardy platforms. Jeff's doing something. As he climbs back up the cage, we're like, fuck, whisper and win top the cage. I mean, it was predictable. Yep. He does whisper and win off top of the cage on Cesaro and Sheamus. Then you have this. The Hardys going toward the door. Sheamus and Cesaro climbing over the side. Jeff gets out. Matt's crawling over. Matt's hands are on the mat as Cesaro and Sheamus fall down. I thought it was going to be a scenario where they both hit at the same time. One referee says the Hardys win. One referee says Cesaro and Sheamus wins. But no, actually it was, I think they were going for that, but it didn't fall that way. And we have new Raw Tag Team Champions, Cesaro and Sheamus. Just like I said in the preview. I mean, WWE, come on. Yes, there's times I'm slightly less than accurate. But I'm like Corey Graves when it comes to that. When I'm right. But otherwise, I'm never wrong. I'm just slightly less than accurate. Next, we had a Cruiserweight title line in a submission match. We had Austin Aries versus Neville. No one's on a Neville level like Neville. Rematch of WrestleMania pre-show match. Rematch of Payback. This time, the only way you can win is by submission. If anybody's seen Aries for more than 5 seconds, you know he's a very sound submission wrestler. He's a very sound technical wrestler. Overall, Austin Aries, overall character, overall in-ring, mic skills, submission skills, mat wrestling, high flying, whatever you look at as an overall 5-tool wrestler, Austin Aries fits every single one of those tools. First ever 2-time Ring of Honor champion. First guy ever to win the X Division title in TNA and turn that in for a world title shot and win the world title. I mean, he did all this stuff in the past. He comes to 205 Live, you're okay, he's a main event kind of guy. But you know what? You want to put him in the X Division or Cruiserweight Division and build that up. He is a former X Division champion. He can do that. He can do what you want him to do to be in this level. Neville put on the Rings of Saturn, and I don't know exactly how Aries did this. It's like I watch him going, did I just see this? He takes a Ring of Saturn, does a flip backwards, and turns into the Last Chancery. Just some of the escapes that Aries was doing. When he hits that Last Chancery, Neville's able to squirm out of the ring. There's one spot where Neville's on the outside, and Aries does the Last Chancery, and Neville's tapping, but it was on the outside, so it didn't count. Aries goes to do the suicide dive off the top through the ropes like he does, because Neville's standing there, and I don't know why they did this the way that either it just didn't come off right, or it was a fuck up, or what exactly happened. But Neville's standing on the outside, and Aries does his, he's gonna dive through the ropes, the suicide dive he does, and just fucking Neville rolls to the ringside, just dropped and rolled. When Aries hit, it was like, whoop, almost head on to the fucking wall, the little barrier there. It's like, damn, that didn't look good. Neville's able to get him in the ring, hit the red arrow, and Rings of Saturn, and he did not tap out. Actually, no, he did tap out. I'm thinking of the next match. He tapped out, so it's like you're going, why are we doing this to Austin Aries? Why? Why have Austin Aries become your number one contender 3 times now and lose to Neville 3 times? Are we going to have Aries finally win the Cruiserweight title on 205 Live to try to give more prestige to 205 Live? Are you trying to have more people tune into 205 Live? If you're going to do that, you would have Aries win and have Aries have a celebration on 205 Live for people to tune in. I watch 205 Live religiously. It's one of my, I like the flippy high flying kind of stuff, and I enjoyed 205 Live. But having Neville retain again, the 3rd goddamn pay-per-view in a row. So what happens at Great Balls of Fire? We have an Inferno match? Are we finally going to have TJP versus Neville, because Neville's been promising TJP a title shot for helping him? And then where does Aries go? So yeah, Raw will be interesting tonight. Main event. Fatal 5-way, number 1 contender match for an Extreme Rules match. This Extreme Rules network special, I refuse to call it a pay-per-view, this network special, Extreme Rules, was not extreme at all. There was a kendo stick. There was a cage. A submission match isn't extreme. So it's like, why the fuck we call it Extreme Rules? Let's just call it normalized rules in a normal situation. But main event, Extreme Rules match, Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns. The winner goes on to Great Balls of Fire and gets squashed by Brock Lesnar. Which I don't think it's going to happen that way. I think the winner of this may actually get a title win at Great Balls of Fire. I think they will go on to SummerSlam, and it'll be a triple threat match. Lesnar, whoever the champion is, and Braun Strowman. And you'll have Lesnar either win it back there and hold it to Mania, and then face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for, The Undertaker, the first WrestleMania without The Undertaker in 25 years, because The Undertaker was 23-2, and the 2 should go 1-on-1, which would be Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title, and for the 8th time you try to put Roman Reigns over, and the average WWE fan could give 2 fucking shits. Alright! Oh, sorry, I gave that Cruiserweight title 3 3/4 star. I gave the tag titles 4 star. I thought it was a really good cage match. Submission match I gave 3 3/4 star too. Main event. You had Bray Wyatt and Samoa Joe working together to start. Why, I don't know. They had mentioned, Cole had mentioned that 9 years ago there was a Fatal 5-Way match, which would have been 2008. I look at every 2008 WWE card, I could not find a Fatal 5-Way match. So I don't know if it was on a Raw or what the fuck it was. So if anybody knows what this Fatal 5-Way match was 9 years ago, let me know. Unless he's talking about the Championship Scramble when Mike Adamle was general manager, and I don't remember what year that was, but I'm like, that'd be the only, because that was a 5-way, so I don't know if that's what he was talking about, and he just get the year wrong or what, but... So we had Wyatt and Joe working together. Wyatt hits Rollins with a DDT on the steps. You just had a clusterfuck at first, because you had Wyatt and Reigns, I think it was, and Rollins and Balor, or some stipulation, or something like, or no, it was Joe and whoever, and Wyatt and Balor fighting on the outside, and Big Dog Reigns just standing in his yard like, I'm the badass fucker here. This is my yard. Yeah, whatever, dude. You did have a chair come out. You had Wyatt bring the chair out and hit Reigns and Balor with it. Balor then, after the chair shot, gets up from that and just goes on the outside of the ring to each person and tries to take him out. You had Joe and, oh my god, this spot was fucking sick. You had Joe and Balor, fighting on the outside, renewing their NXT rivalry. They're standing there right in front of where the ring bell guy sits, when they go through that wall all the time. It's a typical WWE spot. You had Reigns spear him through that. And then you had Wyatt fighting with Rollins over on the announce table. And you had Rollins do a five-star frog splash off the top rope through Wyatt through the announce table. So here's just like, okay, then Reigns rolls somebody in and tries to pin him. Doesn't, gets 2 count. Then you have Balor and Joe get in. And you have Joe put the cocaine clutch on Balor. So you're like, is this how it ends? And it was, because I think Balor, or I think Reigns, whoever was in the ring with them, rolls to the outside. I'm like, oh, that's predictable. Okay, this is the end of it. You didn't have Balor tap out. You had Balor pass out. So you have new #1 contender for Great Balls of Fire, Samoa Joe. I want Joe to go in there versus Lesnar. Some say this is a dream match. I'm like, I know how talented Samoa Joe is. I know how good Samoa Joe is in a ring. What he can bring to it. But versus the fucking beast and carnage Brock Lesnar, who, I'm sorry, hasn't put a good match on since 2002. Which I thought WWE had a rule that if the title wasn't defended within 30 days, they stripped the champion. I guess that's the non-Brock Lesnar rule. So now we go on to Great Balls of Fire. And then probably on the SummerSlam where Strowman will win the title. But on the other side on SmackDown we have Jinder Mahal, whose family's from India, but he's born in Canada, as your champion just because TNA went to India first. WWE went to India, and they have to have somebody with Indian descent as their world champion, and they picked Jinder Mahal. If you can't tell he's doing steroids from all the goddamn pimples and acne on his back, that's one of the top signs of steroid use. But you have Brock Lesnar, who is your Universal Champion, who's a part-time wrestler who doesn't have to follow the wellness program because he's a part-time wrestler and they don't do drug tests on part-time wrestlers, but he has failed 2 drug tests in the UFC for taking steroids. What the fuck is WWE doing? Please, somebody explain that to me. So, I'll wrap up the review of Extreme Rules. I will be going live. I will be live at Money in the Bank. It is in St. Louis. First ever women's Money in the Bank match. Watching Baron Corbin win the men's Money in the Bank match. Watching Jinder Mahal retain his world title versus Randy Orton in Randy Orton's hometown. And Charlotte wins women's Money in the Bank. So, yeah, we'll have stay tuned to Rubber Sports Show for the road to Money in the Bank. I will also add to that this time. I'll put my 10 best matches I've seen live. And I will rank all the pay-per-views that I've been to. I've been to, I think, 10 or 11 pay-per-views between TNA, Ring of Honor, and WWE. So I will have that as part of the road to Money in the Bank. So stay tuned to Rubber Sports Show for NASCAR and everything you're used to seeing at Rubber Sports Show. So as always, thanks for watching Rubber Sports Show. And don't just have a great night. Have a spiffy night. Rubber Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.